Welcome to day 2 of AR Engage Live. Delighted to be here. Dan talked about customer obsession. We had a name for it. We called it customer-inspired growth. If you were with us a year ago at our last event, I talked a lot about that. Customer-inspired growth is this idea that if you design the customer into everything you do in your business, and you speak the customer's language, and you create great experiences, and you deliver real value to them, that you will outperform your competitors in your market. And we've spent the last year and a half doing that at ARInsights into our sales, our marketing, our product. Sometimes those are big, thoughtful things like, here's our strategy and vision. Are we headed in the right direction? Help give us guidance. Sometimes those are small things like Jerome calling me out on LinkedIn and saying, can you please have an easy copy-paste on the email address and an influencer profile? And then we build it in and we do it and we release it. But all those things add up to being customer-inspired and add up to building a great company. So we're going to talk about what we've accomplished in the last year, and we're going to talk about where we're headed. First, I'm going to go way back. All right, that is not me. But it is reminiscent of back when I was a young man growing up. This is what it looked like when you were at home and you wanted to talk with your girlfriend on the phone. You'd take that phone cord and you'd stretch it all the way across the room, try and hide in a corner and get privacy. That's what talking to your girlfriend looked like. Today, this is what my wife accuses me of doing, talking to my girlfriend on the phone. The world has changed a lot, and this last year has been incredible for technology change. So we will talk a bit more about AI, it's inescapable, and how it's changing the way that we work, the way that we live, and what that means for analyst relations. To put it in context, anybody recognize this picture? This is an application called Pointcast. This came out in the 90s. It was one of the first internet mass media applications. You would actually download it on your machine, and it would push content to you during the day. It was revolutionary. I can see the news, I can see sports, stock prices in real time. It was incredible. Eventually it got banned from corporate networks because it crashed networks taking up too much bandwidth. What came next was the launch of the browser. And when browsers went mainstream, this meant I can now pull whatever I'm actually interested in at any time. Transformative to the way that we work and the way we live. Who had one of these buzzing on their hip? Or we thought it was buzzing, but it wasn't even there. We started to develop tremors. The BlackBerry pager. Now my corporate email, securely, my calendar, with me wherever I go, transforming the way we work. Another big transformation. Lastly, not just the phone, but the iPhone 3 in this case, a platform where anybody can build any application. Now it truly unlocks all the possibilities of how we work and how we live, transformative to our daily lives. So if I skip forward to today, these tools are transformative today. It's that kind of change where the way we work and the way we live has changed forever. And in this case, this is a chart of weekly active users for ChatGPT. And over the course of 2.5 years, has grown in this chart to 700 million. If we updated the chart for today, it's at about 800 million weekly active users, and that's just one tool, that's ChatGPT. The world is changing very quickly. To put it in context, this is not weekly active users, this is ad revenue from companies that are major players, recognized names today. And you can see as a proxy over the course of 5, 10, 15, or 20 or more years to see that kind of steep growth, we've seen an acceleration in the pace of change with this current revolution. But there are some caution flags. Has anybody seen this chart? Anybody recognize this? This is pulled from the Wall Street Journal. This is a chart of what they call circular or round-trip revenue deals. So this is an example between the major tech players who are helping shape the economy today, where somebody says, well, I'll buy $100 billion of your chips if you buy $100 billion of my AI or my compute. And we have these $100 billion deals circulating around, which are really premised on future demand. It doesn't exist today, but we're planning for what we see coming ahead. It's foreseeable, but it's not real yet today, and some have cautioned this is the sign of a potential bubble. There's some risk. Another sign of caution, as we all know, these tools can make mistakes. And in fact, they tell us every time you use these tools, I make mistakes, be careful. And in fact, I asked Claude, what's the biggest mistake you ever made? And my engineers in the back will be laughing at me like, Howard, that's not how it works. I know that's not how it works. Claude said, I don't experience mistakes in the way you might, which maybe is, again, me having a conversation with my girlfriend. I don't know. But the tools are imperfect. We all know this. And in fact, Forrester predicted that ungoverned Gen AI in commercial apps will cost B2B companies more than $10 billion, either through investments that didn't pan out or security breaches that happen, other risks that occur because of these tools. So it's transformational, but it's also still a risky time. All right, so let's put this in context. This is a version of a hype cycle. It's called a digital infrastructure evolution life cycle. Hat tip to my friend Avi, who's in the blockchain space, who created this in that context. But the idea was, if you think about components of digital infrastructure, like when internet and e-commerce launched, what did we all say back then? We said, oh my gosh, retail shopping is dead. Nobody's going to go to a store and buy anymore. Is that what happened? No, that's not what happened. Retail shopping is very much alive and well, but it is changed forever, and our buying behavior has changed forever. When mobile devices happened, oh, we'll never use traditional computing platforms for interfaces anymore. That's not what happened. But we do now build mobile first, and it has changed our lives forever. And I do think that's a relevant context for where we are right now with these AI tools, which our lives are changed forever, for sure. And they will become ubiquitous in all the things we do. But I do not think it means it's the end of entry-level jobs. I do not think it means it's the end of SaaS applications as we know it. We will adapt as these tools evolve. So what does this mean for analyst relations? That's what we're here to talk about. These are charts, stock charts for Gartner and Forrester. They have fallen precipitously, which leads me to the point in the presentation where I answer the question that absolutely nobody has asked, which is, what do Guns N' Roses have to do with analyst relations? I have seen in the last 6 months, as many of you have, a tremendous appetite for destruction, meaning Gartner's dead, they finally got it coming to them, they're too old, too slow, too big, too backward, too mean, they don't get it. That's what I felt, and I don't think that's right. Are they ripe for destruction? No, not so fast. Are they ripe for disruption? Is our whole industry ripe for disruption? Yes, I do believe so, and we're seeing that. We've seen many firms rolling out AI products, different ways to interact with intellectual property. Futurum has rolled out a whole new evaluative model, which is AI first. There is lots of innovation happening, lots of disruption happening, and that has implication for all of us and the work that we do. The big question for me, and the implication for our AR practice, is how radically and how quickly do end-user buying decisions change in the age of Gen AI? Why would their end-user buying decisions change? I think most of us know this, but one, information is now readily available that was not available before. So if you're using review sites or other sources of information, I can now understand people's interaction with the tools that I might want to buy and how they feel about it. The pace of change, it's incredible. If you are building software product, the capabilities that you can roll out, not quarter by quarter or month, by week, an incredible pace of change. A traditional evaluative report cycle can't possibly keep pace with what's happening in the marketplace. And all of this is rocket fueled by Gen AI, where anybody can now access all this information instantly and start to make decisions. Lisa talked about this yesterday. So she shared this very elaborate prompt that she had written and executed in Perplexity. and then a very thoughtful, detailed response from the AI, including tables, weighted information, recommendations, all of this in the hands of the end user buyer making a decision. And as she pointed out, there's no Gartner MQ results in there. There's no Forrester Wave results in there. There are some other analyst information that can be there. It's mostly publicly available information. And that's good and bad. I had a slightly different take than she did. So one, it does have big implication for us and what we do, and I'll talk about that in a minute. On the other hand, if you look through the detailed citations, and I did this in all the major tools, most of the sources that are fueling these tables, this scoring, is actually all of your websites. It's your marketing material. So it's sourcing the vendors and what they say about their own products, and then combining all that information and coming up with a rating. So if I'm an end user, do I immediately accept this information? I'm not so sure. In fact, TrustRadius said 90% of B2B buyers click through to sources featured in AI overviews. So I'm going to look through that information as a buyer, and I'm going to say, do I trust these sources to help me make this buying decision? And in some cases, I think the answer will be yes, and in some cases, I think people will pause and think about all the information they need to make an important buying decision. And very much will continue to rely on analysts in appropriate situations. So what does this mean for us? Lisa talked about this yesterday. There are things we can do within analyst relations and as part of a broader organization to help maximize our opportunity of being seen and being referenced in these results. So number one, if analysts are talking about you, amplify that, socialize that. If you hear them saying positive things, find ways to engage that in multiple places, because the tools want to see multiple references cited for information. And number two, prioritize coverage quantity. Because we're leveraging AI to be able to do more things more quickly and hopefully free up some of our time, one of the things we've seen examples of is that I can now actually do more reports because I can automate the reports I take on. And if I'm working with a tier 2 or tier 3 analyst and getting more reputable cited coverage of my product, I'm going to show up better. Number three, if you're working with an analyst where you can influence the way the outcome is produced, for example, if you're commissioning a report with an analyst firm, put it in a format that you know is going to be received well by the LLM. So for example, a question and answer format. If you question and answer pair the content that comes out from an analyst paper, it makes it very easy for the LLM to read and say, well, somebody in the chat just asked me a question and I see that exact question in this referenceable material. Let me provide that answer as a cited piece of material. That's going to help you show up better in the LLM. Lastly, things are changing very quickly. How the models work, how the algorithms work, how they prioritize, how they present. You can't just create a playbook today and run it. You're going to have to be very flexible and adaptable moving forward. Let me shift to another way that AI is helping us in analyst relations, and that's in RFI automation. So what is this? This is using Gen AI to help respond to evaluative report RFIs. Taking in an RFI, deconstructing it, and responding to it in a highly accurate, effective, efficient way. As this evolved over the last year, the ability to take this new Gen AI and layer it onto an RFP response tool, we went out and surveyed our customers. And we asked our customers, what is most important to you when thinking about tools to use for RFI automation? And the way to read this chart is the yellow, green bars. Those are the most important, and the blue bars are the second most important priorities. What we heard from our customers was the accuracy of the answers is most important. It has to be right. But very closely behind that, we heard it needs to comply with my AI governance in my company, and it needs to comply with my data and security implications in my company. And I need to really understand, is this saving me time? And how much effort is it going to take to get it up and running? And how much effort is it going to take to maintain over time? And what we learned from all of that is there's no one tool or one approach or one answer that's going to work for a majority of companies. You need to be flexible to meet the needs of your customers, which is what we had in mind when we created and rolled out our RFI Accelerator offering. The RFI Accelerator offering is a services-led offering by our services agency to help you pick the right tool based upon our experience in having worked with all the major third-party tools like Responsive, Loopio, Tribble, Conveyor, working with the LLMs directly, and understanding the right process and the right prompts to get maximum results. In our RFI Accelerator offering, which is very approachable, by the way, for just $10,000, we can help a company pick the right tool using our calculator and decision matrix, run through a process, use our prompt library to understand how to get the most out of the tools at every stage of the process, and actually run through your first RFI with you. We'll train you how to do this process on your own, or you can continue to work with us moving forward. Let me give you one example that we talked about yesterday. I'm not sure if Pete's in the room today from FICO. Pete and FICO were working on their first MQ. And so they wanted to understand, A, where might I end up in this MQ? And B, how can I leverage these tools to accelerate and automate and save time and get a better outcome? So working with our AR agency, the first thing we did with Pete, which we do with a lot of customers, is, hey, you might have one of these tools already in your organization. And in fact, FICO did. They were using Responsive in their sales organization. And many of you in your companies may also have these tools available to you in other parts of your organization. So Pete went to the sales team, got access to the Responsive tool, and used it to create a first draft of a response to the MQ. Also understood that these tools have some complexity to them, understanding them, getting them set up, using them, and decided not to continue to use that tool for the rest of the process. And in fact, we shipped it over and used ChatGPT. And we didn't use the tool just to generate draft responses. That was great, but there's a lot more that you can do with these tools. So we took the draft responses and then as a whole evaluated, does this seem complete? Are we consistent in our tone? Are there any gaps? We went and compared it actually to the criteria and said, are there any specific criteria that were called out that we haven't fully answered or we think are weak or we can improve? We took the answers and looked at it from a competitive lens. How are our competitors going to shape up, and how does that compare to how we're going to shape up? All of these activities led to us producing a higher quality, more complete product at the end of the day, both saving time, but also getting greater clarity on the output that we want to deliver. And we're using AI in other ways in our agency as well. So in addition to just RFI automation, with Dialpad had lost track a little bit of exactly what are the things I have available to me in my analyst firm contracts. We collected all that information, centralized it using an AI tool, and made sure that we were taking advantage of the things that were available to us in our contracts. For Lenovo, we helped to expand the number of RFIs we could respond to using AI tools. And for CI&T, we actually created a utilization tracking tool using AI to make sure that for the things available to us, we were fully maximizing our usage of those things in the contract. All right, so AI, we've talked a lot about that. AI is a revolutionary generational leap in technology. And yet, our goal as AR professionals remains as it has been, which is driving business impact. We talk about this a lot. Jerry talked about yesterday, what does business impact mean and how do we actually drive it? So better market coverage, in more deals, winning more deals more quickly, helping to drive more revenue for our business. Ultimately, that's the role we want to be playing in our businesses. Another example of how we've done this with our services agency is with Nicole and Proofpoint. Shout out, Nicole. When Nicole joined the AR team at Proofpoint, what she found was a reactive AR team that was doing a lot of one-to-one effort, and every different thing we tried to take on felt like recreating the wheel. It felt like the first time we were going through all this stuff. In partnership with our agency and using our software, Nicole has transformed the AR function at Proofpoint to being deliberate, to being thoughtful, strategic, planning ahead. Not only has an amount of activity increased dramatically, which is great, but more importantly than that, built a lot of trust and credibility both internally in the business and externally, which allows us to transition from becoming transactional to becoming a strategic advisor, to driving insights, driving intelligence and action throughout the organization. Let me shift over to product. We've had a tremendous year evolving our product suite at ARInsights. And this is our vision. This is the strategy behind our product evolution. It is to be the complete AR intelligence platform for all of you, connecting the dots between AR activities, influencer perceptions, and business outcomes. And to do that, we have 3 pillars. First pillar, AR activity intelligence. This is taking the work you do all day, every day, inquiries, briefings, analyst days, so forth, deriving key pieces of intelligence and using them to drive action into the business. Second pillar, influencer intelligence. What are we hearing, perceiving from influencers and analysts in the marketplace? How are we ingesting that, analyzing that, and turning it into action for you and your business? And last, impact intelligence. How does all of this ladder up to driving more impact inside my business? All of this was done through the lens of 1, automating. We want to minimize the amount of manual work it takes to get information in or out of our platform. 2, recommending. Instead of you having to think about what the next step should be, we're going to provide a recommendation as to what the next step should be. And 3rd, simplification. All interactions with our software should be as simple as possible. Let me give you a few examples. AI. We have built AI, as everybody has, into their platform. Our approach has been to make AI pervasive throughout the platform where it makes sense. So rather than having an AI tier that you need to buy into, we're going to provide you the right tool at the right moment to help automate your activity, simplify your activity, whether that's ingesting data, analyzing data, storytelling. We're looking to empower you, and we're looking to allow you to have more time to do the things that are most important to you, which is building relationships and having strategic impact. Smart Interactions is a tool we rolled out earlier this year. This tool allows you to take a transcript, to take meeting notes that maybe you typed into some kind of document, or maybe you were at a fantastic conference and you wrote notes in a notebook during the day. You can take a picture of your notes and you can upload that into the system. All of these data sources are analyzed, summarized. Your interaction is pre-populated with dates, times, analyst firms, participants involved, and we'll generate insights out of the entire interaction and say, here's what we think the right insights are for you to take back into the business, along with a sentiment attached to those insights. Automating that whole sequence of activities so that one customer remarked, I feel like I just discovered fire. We've totally rebuilt our reporting engine inside of Architect. We've launched a modern web-based reporting engine. It's beautiful to look at, it's easy to use, and it's easily exportable to be part of your storytelling. You can download any of the images in any format. You can get the underlying data tables at the push of a button, all designed to help you eliminate steps and do great, impactful storytelling internally and externally. We've revamped our Insights engine this year, adding some really important new capabilities. In addition to the reporting capabilities that we've rolled out, we leverage AI to automatically look across a series of insights over time and generate a summary. So for example, if you're thinking, with Gartner in the last 90 days, what are the key themes I've heard? Easy, we can generate insights through that filter, provide you an AI summary and the charting to go with it. Or maybe by topic, or maybe by time. All these things can be done automatically. We've also rolled out through our CX team and the amazing Crystal Golightly, a health check sequence we'll do with our customers, where we're going to look at your activity inside the product, see how you're using the product, and offer you up suggestions as to how you can maximize use and value of our products that you're using, and compare them to benchmark standards as we look across all of our customers. How do the best-in-class teams use our product and derive the most value? And we'll give you actionable next steps as to how you can do that as well. On the analyst side of our business, we've put a whole lot of work into building out new capability for analysts. We relaunched our Power 100 this year. Every single one, 100% of analysts loved exactly where they landed in the list. All right, maybe I got a few phone calls that didn't love exactly where they landed in the list. But by and large, there was a lot of public support for what we had done. People are proud to be recognized for their accomplishments. And we're proud to have a view into the market and be able to help people pick the right analyst for the right activity at the right moment in time. We recently surveyed analysts and said, what are the ways in which you'd like to engage with vendor AR teams? And we took in their feedback, and we've built a whole new tool to help to address that, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes. AI agents and integrating into our system. We rebuilt our entire API architecture this year. So we've got a brand new API architecture allowing you to programmatically access data inside Architect. We've got a flexible AI model where you can pick the tool that you want to use to interact with your proprietary data. So if your business says, I want to interact with Gemini as my LLM to drive AI insights, great. If you'd rather pick OpenAI, that's okay too. We have a flexible architecture. Whichever one you choose, we never train a model. The data is yours and is kept secure and privately in our system. We've built out an MCP server, which is a layer of software designed to allow AI agents to interact with your APIs and dynamically interact with Architect. So we're preparing for the future of how business will be done in an AI for AR world. I'm proud to announce today the launch of our next generation premium content tool, which is going into beta. And I'm going to tell you about that tool through the lens of Alex. You may or may not recognize the name of the company, Hooli. It's a fictional company. Alex is the AR manager at Hooli. Alex's job is, part of his job anyway, is to figure out what's going on in the marketplace and how do we need to react to what's going on. He spends his day doing what we like to call scroll, 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 click, skim, 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 and then do that over and over again. We have a solution for that problem. Our new premium content tool has been rebuilt in the back end to use modern ingestion techniques to dedupe and ensure high quality content, and in the front end to use a modern search engine that gives you exactly what you'd expect in the way you expect it, with a beautiful interface and an easy to configure yet powerful left nav. So Alex looks through, finds a piece of content, clicks on exactly the right content because it's from the sources he cares most about, and dives into the content. He doesn't need to skim because we've summarized the content for him automatically, saving him time and giving him the right information right at his fingertips. Alex notices, hey, there's some trends in the data. I see there's a lot of content about our product launch and a lot of content about our recent acquisition. We have a tool that we call Collections that we built in. Collections allows him to group content, automatically have it filter into the right collection, and after he sets up the collection, new content will continue to filter into those collections, and he can set up notifications to get notified when there's key content he needs to know about. And at the end of the month, when Alex needs to summarize this in reporting, we've got him covered there too. The reports that you want with a summary of everything that's happened in the month in text, as well as visually, so you can see how many times have I been mentioned, how is it trending over time, who's talking about me, and how does it compare to my competitors. Alex is happy. We've delivered on our influencer intelligence and impact intelligence pillars, and he's able to spend his time doing the things that he wants to do, which is to be more strategic and focus on relationships. So you may be thinking, that's great, I want that, which you can have if you're interested in the beta. The beta is launching for premium content now. But you may be thinking, how do I know if it's the work I'm doing that's driving that impact in the marketplace? Well, we've got a tool for that too. So I'm excited to announce the launch of our new tool called AR Connect. AR Connect is the next generation analyst portal, which builds an AR ecosystem for vendors and influencers to interact. Let me introduce you to Bistro, another fictional business. They're a cybersecurity scale-up. And they're really excited about this business. They've been doing a lot of really innovative things. But you may be able to relate to this. They're having a hard time getting the right analysts to pay attention and talk about what they're doing. It's not for lack of trying. Sarah, the AR manager, is working as hard as she's ever worked. She's sending out emails, sending out case studies and data sheets, but she's not sure. Are they listening? Are they reacting? Well, David, who's a Forrester analyst, is receiving those emails. And David says, I've got an inbox full of emails from Sarah and all the other vendors. It's impossible for me to keep up. And if I do get caught up to the content, I look at it, it's not exactly right for me. I wish it was more customized for me. Which is a reasonable expectation. And Sarah knows that too, but there's only so many hours in a day. She can't do everything for everybody, until now. AR Connect is a highly customizable, highly automated portal for Sarah to use. With a push of a button, she can use our AI content creation tool, point to existing documents, point to existing websites, and create brand new content in the portal where we automatically populate the key fields. It's beautiful, consumable, and can be tailored for exactly the audience that you want. So Sarah sets up her portal. She invites David. David says, great, I want to give this a shot. The first thing he notices, wow, this is easy to use, and it's exactly the content that I'm most interested in. It's not all the content, it's the things that matter to me most. I can easily access them, I can bookmark, I can share. The things that I'm going to need for my research are right there for me. So David says, this is great, Sarah. Do you have any more detailed information on how you do Outlook email security? We've got a built-in messaging platform in Bistro where it's really easy for David to reach out to the AR team at Bistro. Sarah gets a notification on her dashboard. She responds to David right away and says, here you go. Here's a case study. Here's a technical data sheet. Let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. She then notices, in looking at her analytics inside of AR Connect, that there are a lot of other people who have bookmarked that exact same piece of content that David was looking at. She sends an email to her email security group of influencers and says, hey, I saw you were interested in this topic. Here's an additional data sheet. Reach out if you have anything else that I can do for you. Simply and easily one-to-many communication. One of the people who received that was Lisa at IDC. Lisa happened to be driving along in her Uber, pulled up her AR Connect portal on her mobile phone, and said, wow, this is great. I see all this content customized just for me. It's exactly the things I'm most interested in. She can scroll through to the case studies she cares about, she can bookmark, and she can reach out to Sarah as well. The results of all of this, the analysts are now paying attention. Because they have exactly what they want, when they want it, they're talking about Bistro and the work that they're doing. For Sarah, I've been able to now transform into a world where I can talk to many different analysts at once, one-to-many communication, giving them exactly what they want while saving me time. And more importantly, I can connect my work to the actual impact that's happening in the marketplace. You can start to see where there's a network effect in this platform. The more analysts get involved, the more value there is for vendors. The more vendors that get involved, the more value there is for analysts. This is the future of how one-to-many effective, high-impact communications are going to work. And in order to help build that network effect, if you're not yet on a portal and you would like to have a portal, we're running a promotion through the first half of next year where for just $10,000 as an entry point, you can get a single seat of Portal, making it available and accessible for AR programs of any size. And if you're thinking, hey, I'm not sure if this idea is really that important to my program, I'll steal a little thunder from Brenna from Palo Alto, who's going to speak later this morning, where Brenna said, the Portal is a huge part of what we've accomplished this year in terms of scaling globally. We reach over 300 analysts, and it's a time saver for us. The analysts love it too, and we have everyone from our independent analysts to the major firms looking at our content on the Portal. We all need to optimize our time, and this tool is essential for that. This is a tool that every program should consider having to scale out one-to-many communications in a high-impact way. All right, a couple of last things. You may also be feeling, wow, that's a lot. Like I'm one person or two people, we can't do all of that. We can help you with that. We have a new offering called AR Extend that is available to you, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It helps extend your AR team. This is a service offering with modular bite-sized components from planning through insights reporting, managing your AR Connect portal if you'd like, or even helping you with contract management. What's all available to me, and am I making proper use of it? All of these things are available through our service agency, and they come with high-impact reports and storytelling to help you tell the story of the impact you're having inside your business. We've got some great software features coming in the next few months. We've completely rebuilt and reimagined our briefing book creator, AI-powered, modular, deliver exactly what you need, customized for the audience that you're delivering it to. That'll be coming early in 26. As will an analyst recommender. We've used some algorithms to look across the platform and understand, hey, there's analysts that your competitors are talking to and that are talking about you, but you're not engaged with. Or there's analysts out there that are talking about your competitors, but they're not talking about you. All of these will help make sure that you're talking to the right people at the right time. So as we look ahead to 2026, a few pieces of guidance. For sure, if you're not yet using AI in your AR program, start. Safely, experiment, try some things. We can help you, but you need to take advantage of these tools. If you're not AI literate, you're putting yourself and your program at risk. Use that time you save to build deep relationships internally and externally. More than ever, we're being asked to justify the impact we have on the business. The way we do that is by aligning the work we do to the most important things in the business. If priorities inside your business are changing quarterly, which they often are, I heard this from customers yesterday, make sure you are aligning your priorities and you're being adaptable and flexible. The playbook that has worked in the past may not be entirely wrong, but it's certainly not entirely right as we look into the future. So please adapt. As Lisa said to us yesterday, AI is a great tool. AI should free us to be more strategic and more genuinely human, not less. So use AI for what it's worth, but focus your energy on using your smarts, your experience, your relationships to drive impact into the business. It's been an excellent year at ARInsights in 2025. We've grown. Dozens of new customers have joined us. For those of you who are customers, thank you. Thank you for your loyalty, your commitment, your trust in us. For those of you who are not yet customers, we would be honored to be your partner and help your program grow in 2026. We've got an incredible day ahead of us. Soak it all in. Thank you and look forward to a very prosperous 2026.